Hi there! I am making this video to send out for parents who weren't able to come to our open house. So to get started, expectations for grown-ups through Online Academy in first grade. So I expect you to actively respond and communicate with me through email and remind text because communication is always important as a teacher, but it is so crucial with this online learning because we are unable to meet in person, so the only way I can get information to you is through your email. So if you can please be sure to be checking that regularly and responding to my questions or things that I need you to sign up for, or etc. I want you to make sure that you are structuring a school schedule that works for your family at home. Most kids do better with a routine and some structure. You are going to need to help with course navigation. Students need to have someone working with them. Most of these lessons are too complex for a first grader to do alone. You will need to monitor student progress regularly in Buzz and through my communication. And that academic integrity. Resist that temptation to do too much for your child. You really want them to be doing the work and the learning. Expectations for students. I expect students to engage in learning, to complete assignments by Sunday each week. I will accept late assignments, but once a student falls pretty behind, it is very hard to catch up. So if you see a 0 in the grade book, that means that your student still needs to do that, and I would highly recommend just staying on top of that once a week, getting all of anything missing caught up. I recommend that students attend live sessions as much as possible. Engage with the teacher when we're working together. Be kind and respectful, and have that academic honesty. Students should do their own work, and remember that this is the only way that I can see which areas are strengths for them or which areas are challenges, is if they are doing their own work and turning it into me. So when we have our WebEx meetings, we do have some norms and expectations that I expect to be followed. We enter our meetings on mute to avoid that chaos of a bunch of noise. We raise hands to share or ask questions. We unmute when I ask you to. We sit in a good learning space. If you can please have a designated area that your child sits in that's not laying down in their bed. Sitting up in a chair like you would in school, or on the floor I guess is fine too. But we're sitting up in a learning position. We don't have toys or other distractions there. We are wearing school-appropriate clothes, and we are participating. So when we do greetings and we do activities, we are all a part of that. We are kind and respectful, and if we're not sure about whether something's a good idea on WebEx, think, would this be acceptable in a traditional classroom? And most of us know the answers to that about our behavior. One other thing that we did have in morning meetings coming up this week is students are figuring out how to send reactions, which are like almost like little emojis or pictures. And I will talk to them about that in morning meeting tomorrow. We are not going to be doing that in our meetings because it's distracting. And also, if we're focusing on clicking on little pictures instead of listening, it's really taking away from the concept of having our meetings. Okay, so our live instruction that is provided will change a little this trimester. So morning meetings are available Monday through Thursday. I highly recommend your students come. This is a valuable time to make connections, 9 to 9:30. They can connect to me as their teacher, to each other as peers, and also just get sometimes some little bits of content thrown in there. We read stories, we do greetings, we sometimes get up and move and do activities, sometimes do some writing, sometimes do some math. According to me, I hope it is for students as well, one of my favorite parts of the day. It always is in a traditional classroom as well when we do morning meetings. After morning meeting, I am starting to offer from 9:30 to 10 a mini lesson. So these will alternate between math and reading, and they'll be targeted to the same topics that are being taught in Buzz that week. However, they will not replace a Buzz lesson. So if your child is someone who might need a little extra practice in math or reading, that would be a great time to stay on after morning meetings. You don't leave, you just stay on if you want to join. If you don't, you get off and you go. So during that time, we'll do some practice together, just reinforce some of the lessons that they are working on in Buzz. Then we will still have individual instruction time. That is Monday through Thursday. And those scheduled times will be different. I sent out a new checklist, a new sign-up list, so make sure if you want individual instruction time to sign up for that. I really, really value that one-on-one time with my students, and I hope that most of you will join me for that. Small groups will be starting up, but not till after Christmas break, and those will be dependent on your student. It's mostly an intervention as needed with reading. So I will contact you if your student needs to join a small group lesson. All right, so independently, what's going on at home that is independent of teacher instruction is that weekly checklist is where you should be starting your week. Monday morning, open that up. What is there to do each day? You can decide if you are going to do different things on different days, but I highly recommend you use that to guide you through the week. It has specific instructions, specific things that you need to do, yellow highlighted things that are turned in for a grade. The rest is practice and should still be completed at home, but does not need to be submitted. Buzz is where you will do your lessons, assignments, or submissions, quizzes, and tests. There are teacher videos linked in, I put them in the Buzz lesson themselves and also in the checklist that you'll get on Monday. Those can be used to replace going through the slides on the lessons that they're provided for. You'll get 2 teacher videos a week, one for math lesson, one for language lesson. And you can choose, if you don't prefer that method, you're welcome to just go through the Buzz slides. Interactive notebook is referred to a lot in your activities, but this is just a notebook, and it is just where you are writing your practice, doing your assignments. Also, you will get printable packets, which are where you'll work as well. Pick those up at Longfellow this Friday from 10 to 12. It's a drive-through. We'll bring it out to you. So they are very helpful with the work we ask you to do. Also, this trimester we numbered the pages, which will make your life a lot easier as you're trying to figure out which of the 16 pages of lesson 3.07 are due. I will say page 17 or whatever it is, so that helps you navigate those packets a little bit easier. Okay, so our weekly newsletter is going out by Monday morning, and that will be either just an email or sometimes a slide I make, but it has the information for the week that I think is critical for you to know, and I really, really ask you to please read them thoroughly. I know we're all busy, but with online learning, communication is just so important. So please read those, and as always, let me know if you have questions. Weekly checklist, that goes out Monday, like I said. One thing I do want to say is always follow the checklist, not the to-do list in Buzz. That checklist includes all the skills, lessons, assignments, things we want you to work on. Your to-do list in Buzz will not have all of that in there. Please follow the checklist. Okay, as far as Buzz goes, it houses all of our curriculum. It has the landing page for our Bitmoji classroom, has a grade book. In the grade book is just, these grades are not reflective of whether your child is mastering the critical skills of first grade. These grades are reflective of whether your child is doing their assignments or not. They're mostly completion grades. But at the end of each trimester, you will get a report card, which this week you'll get your district report card, which will be your Buzz grades turned into a report card. That shows, has your child participated or not and completed their work. I will also send out my own version of a report card which tells the critical skills we've been working on and whether or not I have seen your child demonstrate mastery of those. You can also, you'll turn in your work on Buzz. I ask you to please turn it in there if you can. Yes, I will accept things through email, but it's a lot easier for me to keep track of and keep an organized method is through the submissions. If for some reason it's not working or you need help, please let me know. The activity stream in Buzz is where you should check to read feedback from the teacher or see if I've sent an assignment back to retry. Let me pull up Buzz and we will check out a couple things together. Okay, so in the student app, when you log in, you see your 4 subjects. A lot of people, like I said, have been telling me that they're using the to-do list and they think all their kids' assignments are caught up. Don't use the to-do list. Use your checklist. Okay, so in the courses, if I click on possibly language, you're going to see this Bitmoji classroom in every subject. It doesn't change between the subjects. So in here you can see a link to Epic Reading. You can click that. Epic is a program that gives students access to free digital reading. You have to use our class code, so use this code that's written below. Prodigy, free math games kids tend to love in my classrooms. Sometimes used as incentive after they get maybe some other math done that they didn't want to do as much, but maybe encourages them to do that. The class code is also required to create your student's account. Okay, I will always post the show and tell topic on the board here, and I ask if you're going to come to Thursday's morning meeting that you read that ahead of time and come prepared. We are not just doing open show and tell because it tends to just be like toys, the same thing each week. So I'd really like to get a variety so we can get to know each other. You can always access my WebEx meetings, my virtual classroom basically, right here. These links, anywhere that you can click has a link, like these are to some read aloud books and some math games. Those are just for fun extras. Here is a link to the to-do list. Ooh, excuse me. A link to the checklist each week. You can click on that if you don't have yours in your email for some reason. When you scroll down, you will see the activities that you should be working on for the week unblocked. So right here is just the module 5, that's where we're starting, and only 5.01 is unblocked right now. That's because that is the only lesson we are using this week. So that is where you'd access that. Now, when I go up in my hamburger in the corner, I can go to grades. And I'm going to switch to trimester 1 because I want to show you the difference between thinking all assignments are done when they really aren't. So if you look at your grade book and this whole blue bar is complete and it says 100% of gradable activities are completed. Now, if I look at this grade here, we can tell that might not be where we want to leave our grade, 37%. So if I scroll down, I can see what percentages my student has gotten on these assignments. Now I get here and I can see this red 0, 0, 0. That tells me those were never completed and should be. See this round circle arrow? That means I gave you a 0 and sent it back to be retried. 0, sent it back. 0, sent it back. A lot of times if I see like a 20% on a quiz or a failing grade on a quiz, I'll often send it back and say, do you want to try this again? Maybe slow down and look through the lesson one more time. So yes, this is important. Check your grade book. Look, do you have zeros? That is where you will know that you are not ready to move on to the next week because you have incomplete work. Let's see, one other thing I want to show you. If I go home, I did find this, and I'm sure many of you have found it by now. Before I sent out a video telling you to record your counting when we had math assignments that were counting, and I'm sure we'll have them again, so this is good to know. I was having you record them using the Chromebook camera. However, let me pull up this assignment. Oops, that's not the one I want. This assignment, which was a counting recording to submit. When I come here, I can see that this is where I would submit assignment. And those students who are new, if you had a picture of your worksheet that you did, you would say add an attachment, attach a file, choose, and on your computer, wherever you have those saved, housed in your files, you would click it and attach it. And that is how I look at work for students to get graded. Now, if I'm trying to make a recording, I do not even need to do it on a camera. I can click right in this where it says add your comments, and there's an option where I could insert a video. So if I needed to do a video for this lesson assignment, I could. However, there's a little microphone next door, and who knew, which many of you probably figured out faster than me, that you could record yourself right here and submit it without having to do those extra steps of saving it and then adding the file and submitting. So for next time, anytime we have recorded videos, I would highly recommend doing that. Okay, so I guess one last reminder. Don't follow the to-do list. Please use the checklist that I send you. Now, in the activity stream, if you can get in the habit of having you and your child check this daily, I will send back things that, anything that you didn't do, I'm going to give a 0 and send it back to you. You'll see it in this activity stream. Anything you did do and turn in, I will provide feedback with each assignment so that your student can see, hey, how did I do on that? What did my teacher say? Just as I would in the traditional classroom. Alright, so before we finish up, a few final things that you've probably seen me send you emails about, put in the checklist. iStation is something that we will use regularly. It is done 3 times a year for all students, and some students need to take it monthly, so I will let you know if your student is needing to take the iStation. But it is really important. It provides data for me to progress monitor, target my teaching, and really just make sure we're getting those first grade skills met. Imagine Math, we benchmarked, tested students for that, and that is where we teachers can kind of figure out where students are starting the year, how they're growing throughout the year. So please make sure you've gotten onto Imagine Math and done the benchmark, or your child has done the benchmark. Don't help them. Same with iStation. Both need to be done independently because that gives us data on where your child's at independently, not with help. And Imagine Math might get assigned periodically in the checklist. Like this week, it is assigned one day, and I expect students to get on and do a lesson in Imagine Math. Imagine Literacy was assigned this week as well. We just want kids to get on and try that. That's in place of a Buzz lesson this week. It's also, all 3 of those are in the single sign-on. You should see those icons. And it should tell you exactly what to do within the program as you go. Typing Quest is also in there, which is an option if you're thinking you want your student to work on their typing skills. That's a great option that the district offers. Decodables, these are little books that we will be adding to our checklist each week, and they are really good for fluency practice, and they'll have instructions in the checklist, and I would love to see every student doing that. We use decodables all the time in a traditional classroom, so it's really important that we do as many of these things through virtual learning as well. Epic Reading is, like I told you, in the Bitmoji classroom, and Prodigy is also in there. So that is all that I wanted to update you on. Whether you're new to our class or you were here last trimester, there were some things that had changed and some reminders that would be helpful for us all. I hope that it was valuable for you to tune in with me and check in about this. If you have questions after watching this video, please send me a text or an email. If you need to set up a meeting and talk about anything, go through anything that's confusing or you have questions about, just let me know. I am so happy to help. I just want you to know that I really appreciate you and know that this is a heavy load for parents to be doing from home, and want you to know that I'm here to support you every step of the way. And I look forward to getting to know your students even more this trimester. Thank you. Bye-bye.